I legitimately do not understand why. I am on record for disliking it when Transformers are made sexy. I am on record for disliking the Japanese aesthetic when it comes to Transformers. I am on record for hating shell forming. I am on hella record for hating parts forming. So why is it when I look at this figure I'm like,
Yes! Yes! This is delicious!
can you tell me? Because I can't tell me. Let's start off with the most obvious thing about this figure. That's the wrong damn head. This thing comes with two heads, which are the exact same except for the faces, which for some reason are capable of being swapped between heads, even though they are the same head. Where is my damn RC head? I bought a big titty RC, and I want my damn RC head. Yes, this is the first thing I noticed. I'm not weird, though they should have just called it arse, and not tried to be coy about it. Hell, nicey arse. Nothing else about this damn thing was subtle. This thing is slutty as hell, but at least it retains some dignity. I'm looking at you, fans toys, at least until you get to the accessories. Let's start off with the card. This is printed on some low-quality cardstock. It's got a picture of her, and my, that is a soft-looking robot. I gotta point out that that's the logo for the toy down at the bottom. Classy. I bought this. How dare I judge? And on the back, is the same picture again, and there's the same picture again. And behind all that, there's the same picture again. But you can't see it all this time. And on to the other accessories, and the other face is a Climax face. Because of course it is. Couldn't get a proper RC head, or another face with a more characterful expression. Instead, we got the Climax face. You stay classy, big Firebird. And then, oh, you will love this. We got a separate chest. At first I saw this and I was like, what's the point of this? The only difference is this one looks to be a more matte color, so why does it exist? And then I picked it up. It's soft. It's the soft titties breastplate. It's creepy. It's so weird. It's weird. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna put this on right now, and then I'm gonna go take a shower and bleach. You'd think this would just go in straight or straight down, but no, it rocks in. Next, you get this thing, and I don't know what this is, and these directions do not help. Next, you get this sword, and I'm actually saying it like that on purpose this time, and not by accident. Sword. I am grateful they didn't just give her a katana. This is more an Excalibur type weapon, and given the heavy Japanese design, they very easily could have gone full weave on her. Then, you get a whole heap of hands. These are good accessories. Thank God they didn't get in pinching or center fingers hands, if you know what I mean. I choose to believe, and not think about, this relaxed hand as just a relaxed hand. Then there's a laser arrow, and lastly, you got a space revolver, which is not RC's gun at all. This is a good size figure. I had concerns she wouldn't fit in the Masterpiece scaled line for, reasons other than what she looks like, but no, she scales well to them. I mean, she's horribly out of place still, but at least she scales to them. Let me put it this way. I'm glad I didn't pay $110 for something the size of a deluxe. Materials feel great too. It's exceptionally well painted if that's your thing. It's really not mine. I mean, it's nice. Sometimes a crazy paint job can put something up over for me, but not often. Incredibly rarely, in fact. But this has got great paint if you want paint. Posability is pretty strong. She's missing some normally key joints, but has joints that does those jobs in weird places. For instance, she has no waist swivel, but she does have an ab crunch that allows for some swivel. She also doesn't have a thigh cut, but she does have an ankle swivel. Hands are on ball joints, and that gives them a lot more expressiveness and posability than normally you find. This is important for a character who wields a sword. Posing can be a bit tricky still because, well, people are going to make the joke that she's top heavy. Really, she is immensely back heavy. The figure's a lot heavier than she looks, and for some reason that's all concentrated in her backpack. This thing is easily the weight of the rest of the figure. For some reason, it feels like the kibble is the part with the die cast in it. These shoulder pauldrons are also the source of the figure's worst troubles, and they hamper her posability. You can still get her looking really cool though. She's got enough posability, and I'll give it to her, a dynamic enough design that it makes it almost impossible to make her look uncool. Unless you stick this head on her. And she's got these leg pistons that feel like they're actually hydraulic. I mean, they aren't. There's no way they could be, but I don't know how they achieve this tactile sense. Speaking of tactile feel, I should point out, this plastic feels phenomenal. This feels like a solid figure that should not break. Transformation is bad. Like, really fucking bad. Like, worse than Masterpiece Megatron with none of his excuses. Masterpiece Megatron turns into a gun. One of the most unnatural shapes a human can assume. This is a car that's basically someone doing yoga, and it is astonishingly bad for what it is. I have never run into a figure I couldn't get to transform with. And I am pleased to say that while I wrote this, that was the case. But while filming it, I made that record stand. It took 30 minutes and a whole mess of swearing and hands that feel like I've been juggling broken glass bottles, but I got the transformation perfect. It is in its best alt mode. But back to the review as it was originally written. It's a bad sign when the original transformation video put out by the company itself clearly has cuts to hide them having to stop and fiddle with it for minutes at a time. This transformation is so bad, the parts forming doesn't even begin to matter. It could not parts form, and it would be exactly as terrible. There is one good part of this, and it's this section. It's interesting and oddly satisfying, and it lets you turn her into a horrible necromorph-esque abomination. Number one problem here is that nothing locks into place. These pauldrons, they go down. Down where? Somewhere, I don't know. But if they go down too far, they protrude from the bottom of her alt mode and keep it from rolling. Then don't put them down that far. But if I don't put them down that far, then the legs can't have it. Injection from the future! So under her pauldrons, there are some basically invisible hinges it's impossible to know about unless you accidentally engage them. You need to have those hinges most of the way engaged, but not all the way, so when you peg the arms in, you can lever them the rest of the way. The legs are also on a near identical set of hinges, meaning it's variable how far the legs can go before they tab in. This is like a 6-step transformation, and it takes like 20 minutes to go close enough. Injection from the future, part 2! Perhaps the shittiest part of this whole transformation is getting the front to tab in. I don't know what stops the tab, but I needed to put hydraulic press-like pressure on it and do 30 attempts to get it to locate. There's also a tab that blocks you from getting back into position if the whole thing separates. Back to the review! Nothing happens, it takes a million years for nothing to happen, and then you give up because it can roll on 3 wheels, and that's acceptable enough for you to end this torture. And to be clear, they stole this transformation from the most part. This is the Generations RC transformation, but with fewer steps and fucked up. That figure is 1/5 the cost and half the size, and it transforms fast, fun, and easy, and unlike this one, rolls on all 4 tires every time. Now, when all said and done, this turns into a pretty slick future convertible. It's got seating, a dashboard, and a steering wheel even, it's got lights and painted tires, and were it not for the gaps where the thighs won't plug in, and this chunk just not even attempting to be pegged in, because if I pegged it in, it flexes down like half an inch and jacks up the right side of the vehicle mode off the ground. In conclusion, I'm still at a loss as to why I wanted this so bad. It represents everything I hate, and yet this one I'm like, yeah. Some part of my brain is really happy with the look of this figure except for the head. And as much as I just complained about the transformation, if you are more willing to just go, fuck it, it doesn't need to get to a state where it can roll, it just needs to get to one where it's acceptable enough, you'd have a much less contentious time with it than I have. This is a quality figure as a figure. As a transformer, much less so. If you think this looks visually good, you are probably going to be moderately happy with it. If you are a horrible pervert, then you are probably going to love this thing and the alternate chest and face. If you are a normal Transformers fan looking for a satisfying RC figure, you should probably stay away. I can't guarantee you will hate it. I am confused by my feelings towards this figure. It represents everything I don't like, and yet I kind of do like it. It represents all aesthetics that I hate, and yet I really like the look of this. If you are thinking about getting this, you just need to be informed, because unlike any other figure around, your enjoyment of this is going to be entirely subjective. Subjectively, for whatever reason, I like this. Objectively, it's got some pros and a whole lot of cons. Addendum from the future! After doing this review, the figure has elevated itself in my eyes. Yeah, the tiny feet make it topple over without diligent care and posing. Yes, the backpack is heavy enough to cause it to bend backwards while it's just sitting there. And the transformation is better once you figure out the hidden joints in the shoulders. It's not a good transformation at all, to be clear. And I'm thinking about going in and clipping off some tabs because you really don't need them all, and some of them just get in the way. But if you practice this figure, you can get the transformation done in a not insane amount of time. Masterpiece Megatron reclaims his record of being the most fiddly, unfun transformation of any figure I have. Or wait, no he hasn't. It wasn't his to lose at the time of any of my recorded videos. Don't worry. Secret review one day. I still adamantly believe this figure lives or dies on your subjective appreciation of its weird anime bullshit. But my disappointment with it has faded. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. Please, do all that stuff other YouTubers tell you to do at the end of these videos. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter. I try to keep people updated on the goings-on of this show. If there are any issues that will cause me to miss uploads, I will post there. Can't say that I enjoy Twitter all that much, but hey, it's what you gotta do, right? I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.